A few years ago, this movie came out, a great movie called The Truman Show. It's a story of Truman Burbank, who lives a pretty happy life. He's cruising along, doing really well. What he doesn't realize is that his whole life is basically a giant reality TV show. He's the star. In fact, he's been the star since he was born. Everyone around him are just simply actors that are playing their parts, and his whole life is orchestrated by a director who sits up in a control booth. His name is Christoph. And Christoph kind of orchestrates the stuff that's going on the set and in Truman's life and films it and shows it to the whole world. Now, at first, Truman has no clue. He just lives oblivious to this idea. But little by little, as he gets going through the show and through the movie, things start to happen that are kind of strange. First he sees a guy that looks an awful lot like his dead father, and he's like, that's weird. And he kind of chases the guy down, and the director quickly removes him from the set. And another day, he hears this weird radio broadcast. It sounds a lot like somebody directing a set, and that's a radio show. And another day, a light falls from the sky, like a light falls from the set, and it's actually marked like a movie light. And he starts to go, something must be wrong with this place. Something's going on. He decides, even though he's deathly afraid of water, that he needs to sail away from Sea Haven Island, the set where this place, where his life actually happens. And so in his death fear of water, he gets on a boat and he heads out into the sea and begins to sail. And Christoph, the director up in the control booth, doesn't want Truman to realize or to discover that he's living in this fake world that's all controlled by this director. So he calls for a storm on the sea. And the sea gets really stormy, and he's trying to stop Truman. He's setting the storm, and I love it because Truman's in the boat, and he's yelling up the sky, is that all you got? Is that all you got? And he's hanging on, he's tying himself to the boat, and Christoph almost drowns Truman in the storm. But eventually Truman ends up sailing to the edge of the world, and his boat sinks into the paper at the end of the world, and he walks out and escapes. Now that movie makes me wonder, what is it like, to kind of be living in a world where God is in control? Does it ever bother you? Does it ever make you wonder, the storms that are in your life, could God actually change those storms? Could he actually shape them a different way? Does it ever bother you to think that all the things that happen to you must have first gone through the fingers of your God? That they couldn't possibly touch your life unless they first went through the fingers of your God? Does that ever disturb you? Are there things going on in your life that make you go, man, if God is God, how can he possibly want me to be going through this storm? It kind of reminds me of Christoph, the director, who's pushing the buttons and cranking up the storm, trying to stop us from going a direction or change the course of our life. It sometimes bothers me to think about that. Does it ever disturb you?